Hey guys, Roxy's Sims here, and I have a little bit of a spooky speed build for you today. Today I am building an abandoned prison. So this is like a really old prison. I'm thinking built maybe initially in the late 1800s and then used until maybe 1960s or 70s. That's what I'm gonna say, yeah. And maybe it's been built onto and renovated throughout the years, but originally built somewhere in the 1800s. Is this prison haunted? Well, let's just say I wouldn't want to go in there and find out. It looks pretty questionable to me. I loved building this prison. Prisons back in the day used to be so grand and ornate and just, a lot different than what prisons are today. So I definitely wanted to go with an old prison so I could get the whole grand look. And this build took quite a while. A lot of it I had to cut out because super repetitive, put in a ton of cells. You wouldn't want to see me decorate each one. So definitely had to do some editing with this one. One benefit of building an old prison as opposed to a newer prison, one that was built in, say, the 1900s, I definitely wanted to go with the old prison because the ornateness and everything, it adds a level of creepiness, don't you think? I mean, newer prisons are creepy too, especially if they're dilapidated and run down and everything like that. But there's just, an extra level of creepiness with the oldness of the building. And creepy is what I wanted to go for. It is spooky build season after all, so had to do the creepy. As you can see, I'm adding a lot of just details to the exterior of the building. Older buildings just have all kinds of details, and the newer buildings definitely do not. So I wanted to put as much on there as I could. And also these stones they have a bit of moss on them, and it just makes the building look that much more old and run down and abandoned. I also use other things from the Jungle Adventure pack, like these stones right here on the roof, and also I use stones from the ruins on the Get Together pack. Again, they have moss, they look like they've been there a really long time, and they look run down. So anything to add some oldness to the build, you know what I mean? As we get inside, I think you'll see that I really think this build would work as an asylum as well. It kind of has that grand feel that a lot of old asylums have. And I think if you just change a few things around, make it less prison-y, of course. Maybe not bars on the cells, maybe just those doors with the little windows in them from Get to Work pack. Yeah, if you just change a couple of those things, then I really think it could work as an asylum as well. Oh, wait, I think those doors are actually from the restaurant pack. Well, you know what I mean. The doors with the little windows, you'll see them in there because I do use them in this build too. So I have definitely built a lot of rundown buildings in my day, in my life, but this one I think is by far the most rundown thing I've ever built. I have, like you see, ivy growing all over it, cracks, so many cracks in the walls, and chipping plaster, and water stains. And even later, I put a hole in the roof where there's like things, like vines growing down from the hole in the roof. And I have like buckets put under it, under the hole to catch some of the water back when maybe people were actually taking care of this place still. Yeah, and in these little buildings in the corners here, they're the towers to watch the prisoners. I had so much fun making this place so run down. It was a blast. It was really repetitive though. I definitely cut out tons of footage of me placing cracks and stains and cobwebs and all of those things. I spent, that was honestly, I think, took the longest out of this whole build. That was the thing that took the most time. I also took quite a bit of time placing individual pieces of trash and dust and dirt and just nastiness all over the place. I went through the debug items. There's tons of pieces of trash in there. And I had a lot of fun placing all of those items. I wanted to make sure to just fill this place with lots of stuff because I went through Google Images and I just looked at hundreds of abandoned prisons, and you would think that maybe people would take the stuff that's in the prison, like the files and the furniture, things like that. You would think that when people aren't going to be using the prison anymore, they would take those things with them and maybe, I don't know, sell them or reuse them or file them somewhere else. But it appears that is not the case. When I look through all the pictures, there's just, papers everywhere, stuff everywhere. It's like they just one day just up and left everything in the prison. So there's lots of stuff in all the pictures of abandoned prisons that I looked through. So I wanted to keep that accurate and just fill this place with stuff. And when I placed every individual item, I think I placed every single thing a little askew. Nothing in this place is straight. And I wanted to make it look like throughout the years, ever since it's been abandoned, that people have been breaking into this place and moving things around. Maybe some teenagers have broken and put some graffiti on everything. I do have graffiti in here. Also, maybe some people are squatting in this place. I have one cell that I really like. I've dubbed it the squatter cell. So maybe someone's broken in here and he just practically lives here. And he's picked this one cell to be, his place. And he's filled it with graffiti. And there's alcohol bottles, all around the place, cans. There's an old pizza box. A lot of his clothes are piled up. And yeah, he's doing some unsavory activities in this prison. And yeah, he lives here. As you may have noticed, these beds are actually custom content. So for this build, I did use, 3 custom content items. I know 3 is not that much, but it's a lot for me because I normally don't use any, or if I do use some, I'll use maybe 1 at the most. And so I went with 3 this time though, and let me explain why. So the 3 items that I use that are custom content are these beds, the really dirty tile walls that are in the bathrooms, and I used the shower heads in the bathrooms. So I used all these things that were custom content because the beds, I had to have really dirty, nasty looking beds. And while everything in The Sims is beautiful, there's not any really dirty, nasty beds, All the beds are pristine and white and really just super, super clean looking. They just would stick out like a sore thumb if I used those beds. So I felt it necessary to use custom content beds. And same with the tile walls. I used custom content tile walls for the same reason. All the tile walls are so pretty. And it just wouldn't fit. So I have some of those walls. And the shower heads. So the shower heads are individual shower heads. They're not in a shower stall. And that's really what it would be like in a real prison. Well, I guess I should say most prisons. In most prisons, at least pictures, I've never been in a real prison, but in all the pictures of prisons that I've looked at, they all have those communal showers. So just a lot of shower heads lined up, and you just gotta shower next to everyone else, and you don't really get a shower stall. So yeah, I had to go with the custom content showers. But as always, I will upload this to the gallery using no custom content and a version with the custom content. So you can pick whichever one that you would like. If you are totally against CC, then I will have the non-CC version for you up as well. I absolutely love the garden stones that you've seen me put all around this place, that I put on top of that table. I love that because it really, really does look like plaster or drywall that has fallen off as time has gone on. So I have those garden stones just everywhere. In like every room, I have some garden stones. If there's especially like a hole in the wall, I'll put some garden stones underneath it to, look like it's falling apart. I also love all the webs hanging from the light fixtures. Every single light fixture has webs hanging from it. I love that. So this build is slightly inspired by The Shawshank Redemption, which is a prison movie. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's huge, so most likely you've seen it or heard of it. But if you haven't, definitely watch it. It's so good. But, it slightly resembles that. I was inspired by that movie. I think it's fair to say that this imaginary prison and that prison were, built around the same time period. But speaking of Stephen King, who is the person who did The Shawshank Redemption, there is a little Easter egg, I guess you would call it, coming up later on in the video that I'm excited to show you. So if you're a big Stephen King fan, stick around for that part. I can't wait to show you it. As you just saw me do, I put bars on the windows, so any room that maybe the guards wouldn't be constantly watching, if there's a window, then I put bars on it. I think that would be fairly accurate, correct, right? I have mentioned this before, but I'm a really big fan of scary movies. I get a kick out of them, and I really love building scary builds. It's just so much fun, and I definitely take advantage of it, like during, scary build season. But I think I want to just build more scary things in general. It's just too much fun to only keep it to, one time a year. So if that's okay with you guys, I would definitely love to do more of these kinds of builds. They're so much fun. I like doing things that are just, not as typical. I still love building like suburban houses, don't get me wrong. But this kind of stuff adds a little spice to it, a little variety. So I really like doing this. This room here is definitely inspired by The Shawshank Redemption. They have a common room. It's a library. They come and read, and I also thought it'd be good. I know that a lot of prisons have like education, so I figured this could also be an education room as well. So it's like a common room, a recreation room type of thing. You can listen to music and read and also learn things whenever they have classes. I also did put in a little bit of technology that wouldn't have been around in the 1800s, like washing machines. Like I said, it was built in the 1800s, but people had been using it as a prison until, 1960 or 70, somewhere around there. And so I feel like they've added in a little bit of technology that wasn't originally available as time went on. Okay, guys, I gotta talk to you about something, and it's a little dark, so prepare yourself. But in a little bit, you'll see me furnishing a room, a little building out in the back in the yard. Um, I'm not going to say what it is because it's weird and it's creepy, but it's a part of many prisons, especially in the olden days. You could figure out what it is, but it was so weird, like, decorating it. I'm like, as I was putting stuff in it, I'm like, this is weird. This is wrong. But you'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, guys, I love this part of the prison. This is like the medical area of it, and I think it's sufficiently creepy. I do, especially with all of the like stains on the wall. You're like, what is that? What are those stains on the wall? And yeah, I love it. And of course, the little skeleton, he just ups the creepy level by a lot. I love it. It's definitely one of my favorite parts of the prison. My husband also said that something that about this room that was really creepy. He's like, having the hospital beds askew. He's like, something about that is just weird. It's weird and creepy looking. And that made me laugh. I love that. I guess I could see like where he's coming from with that because, every time you see a hospital bed, it's in a hospital and everything is so straight and perfect and clean. So maybe just something about having them just a little off kilter is just weird. Your eyes like, I'm not used to that, So maybe that's why. So guys, the Stephen King Easter egg is coming up pretty soon. And I do realize that you're not really supposed to tell people when the Easter egg is coming. I realize how that's how it normally works. But I just get too excited. I get too excited not to tell you. So here it is. It is it's a reference to a new show called Castle Rock. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but it's on Hulu. And this is not really a spoiler or anything because they show this in the previews. But a prisoner of some sort has been put into this basement area, this hidden basement cell area. And it's circle shaped. It's pretty much just like this. And this guy is found in this cell, and nobody knows who he is, why he's there, or how long he's been there. But yeah, the warden put him there. So that's what this is in reference to. And the whole show is really based on pretty much all of Stephen King's movies and novels and stories and everything. So yeah, it's pretty weird and interesting. But if you're under 17, please get your parents' permission before watching it. I don't want to be the reason why you watch it. It's not good for young ones. Please be aware. Right here, I am decorating the warden's office, the leader of the prison, the big boss. And actually, I do have a few rooms in this build that I don't even show in this video, just because the video is getting pretty long. I wanted to keep it, 20 minutes mark, around the 20-minute mark. And there was just so much of this build, It's huge and it's got so many rooms. So I definitely had to shorten it up a bit, But, of course, if you want to download it, you can see all the rooms. Oh, and this was the room that I was talking about earlier where the bad stuff happens, but it wouldn't be an accurate prison if it didn't have it. So, yeah, you know what happens in there, surely, right? And then the room next to it where people apparently watch, because that's a thing for some reason. Who knows why? But yeah, it wouldn't be a prison without it, so had to put it in there. And here coming up, you'll see where I put in the hole in the roof, which I love. This is one of my favorite parts. And I don't know why I haven't done it before, really, But I had a lot of fun putting this in. And it's cool. It's cool looking from below because I put like vines hanging through the hole and debris and buckets underneath it, Well, guys, this is about it. We're getting to the end of the build. I had so much fun. This was a blast to make. It really was. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I have another creepy build coming up soon, so I hope you'll join me for that. I want to thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will talk to you all soon. Bye, guys.